Hello guys, today we're gonna speak about new Polish president Karol Nawrocki. And we'll speak also about what he will do. So first point will be official results, second point will be who is Karol Nawrocki, who is the new president, and the third point will be what program does Karol Nawrocki has and what he can do actually in reality. So the results are from 2nd June, so on Monday morning, because the voting was on Sunday. Karol Nawrocki got officially 50.89% and Rafał Trzaskowski got 49.11%. Voter turnout record was broken. It was 71.63. All last presidential and parliamentary elections are breaking turnout records in Poland. This is very significant and shows how the Polish society is becoming active in politics. And the voting was very emotional. I was observing it until night, actually, because on Sunday we had voting. It was closed on 9 o'clock in the evening. On 11, there were first results from exit poll, which actually showed Trzaskowski winning 1.4%. And then it was 2 hours later. They were 1 o'clock in the night. There were results from late poll, which showed that Nawrocki won. And in the morning, it was confirmed. So Nawrocki will become the president on 6th of August. So Andrzej Duda, current president, has around 2 months in his position, and later they will exchange. Nawrocki, to win, he had to take votes on the from the right side, from Sławomir Mencen, from the Confederation Party, and from candidate Grzegorz Braun. Grzegorz Braun was also former member of Confederation, and he actually left Confederation before the presidential elections. So both of those candidates actually got high results. And in the first round, and they didn't qualify in the second round. And Nawrocki had to take their votes somehow. And Karol Nawrocki got 10,606,000 votes in the second round, which 4.9 million votes were those from Confederation Party, so from this right party and far right party members. So let's remind, the Karol Nawrocki signed Mencen 8 points declaration to get these votes from right and far right side to win the elections. So almost 40% of his votes in second round were coming from Confederation Party. I'm actually explaining this in my previous video, which I will put the link in the comments so we can check it out. I'm explaining how Nawrocki got these votes from Mencen. Nawrocki victory is actually very widely commented abroad, as it shows the trend also from other European countries, which is that right political side is getting stronger and stronger in Europe. In Poland, Prime Minister Donald Tusk, after their candidate Trzaskowski lost with Nawrocki, announced that on Tuesday, June 11 June, he announced on Tuesday that next Wednesday on 11th of June, Sejm will verify a vote of confidence. So if all the members of governing coalition will vote positively the government will be ruling further. If not, the government resigns, and the Sejm, so the parliament in Poland, must find a new candidate for prime minister within next 14 days. In my opinion, this probably will not happen. I mean, the government will not probably fall, but many things happens in Polish politics lately, so I'm not 100% sure. Let's go to second point. So who is the new president? Nawrocki is new in politics, and he tried to get to politics in 2024. He ran unsuccessfully for the Gdańsk City Council from the Law and Justice Party, so the party which supports him right now. And afterwards, he became a councillor of the Siedlce district in Gdańsk, in the same city he tried to get to the council. So he was so little known to the Polish public that even he couldn't get to the council of city, half million city, where in this council are around 20 people. See, he succeeded in the council of city district of this city. So as we see, he was very little known. For the public and the most of the private media, Nawrocki was rather shown as a former hooligan, as he was fan and hooligan of Polish football team Lechia Gdańsk, and he was professional football player and professional boxer with professional success. He was founder of the ex-Siedlce Gdańsk martial arts sections, uh, or he was shown as a man with connections to the shady environment because he was bodyguard in one of hotel in Gdańsk, and when he was young, and obviously this accusation goes after his hooligan part of life. It is important to say that none of these accusations are reflected in lawsuits or trials involving drugs or organized crimes against Nawrocki, which are actually that's how it is. He is shown as a guy who is connected to these shady things. So generally, there is only one thing connected to Nawrocki's shady actions, which is proved, and is he's receiving the flat from an alcoholic man who was his mate, probably, and he couldn't get this guy couldn't pay debts, so they made up a deal with Nawrocki that Nawrocki will pay him for the flat in installments, but legally they signed documents with this guy that states that Nawrocki paid all the money up front, which was not true because Nawrocki was paying him later in installments. But Karol Nawrocki also has very important career path, which shouldn't be skipped and was was not mentioned in any of media I checked from the let's say first page or even 2 pages. So he's known in Law and Justice Party and in historical and institutions of the country because he served as a director of the Museum of Second World War in Gdańsk. He has been the head of the Institute of National Remembrance, called IPN in Polish. IPN is a well-known institution for Polish people who put much attention to history of their country. Not only history is connected to IPN, also politics is deeply connected to IPN. And I have to tell you what is IPN and what is going on with this. IPN is Public Commission for the Prosecution of Crimes Against the Polish Nation. So the public institution IPN main areas of activity include researching and documenting the losses which were suffered by the Polish nation as a result of World War II and during the post-war totalitarian period. It is mainly investigates and prosecutes Nazi and communist crimes, but also Ukrainian UPA army crimes, which nowadays, with intense relations with Ukraine, play an important role. Nawrocki research as a history doctor focuses on anti-communist opposition in Poland, organized crime in the Polish People's Republic, and the history of sports. In February 2024, he was listed as one of the persons wanted by the Russian Federation on criminal charges in relation to his action of the removal of monuments commemorating the presence of the Red Army on Polish territory in the years 44-89. Generally speaking, IPN is an institution that many countries has a problem with, including some Polish neighbors. We can go to the point 3. What program does Karol Nawrocki has and what he can do in reality? I put it in points, so we'll go through the points. First point is tightening alliance relations with the United States. Karol Nawrocki visited White House on 2nd May before the elections and spoke with Donald Trump, which support him, while the candidate Trzaskowski was supported by liberal leaders from the European Union and liberals from United States, of course. This support accepts political directions from the, let's say, Law and Justice Party and right side of the Polish politics, And it's actually continued by Nawrocki. It's not a new deal to make good relations with United States in Poland. It was like this with previous president, not with the actual current government. They do not have good relations, very good relations with Donald Trump. But it's connected also strictly with money from Polish national budget. Why? They are the biggest military purchases in Europe, which are done by Poland to be prepared for the eventual war with Russia and its supporters, of course, meaning Belarus or South Korea, or North Korea, sorry. Uh, Poland spent around 4% of GDP and plans to increase it to 5% of GDP. So total plan for defense spent from 2025 till 2035 is around 500 billions of dollars. For Polish budget is huge, huge, huge money. Mostly Poland is buying from United States, not only due to relations with USA. Poland, for example, was taking part in Iraq and Afghanistan conflicts, but also because none of the country in Europe is available to deliver such a number of tanks or fighter aircrafts in such a time which Poland wants, meaning for military industry quickly. Now European Union is looking more intense to have the good contact with Poland, as its role being the barrier for the Russian against Western Europe. It is very important. Also, the role as a Poland of a Ukrainian supporter. Most of the army, most of the weapons are coming through Polish border. Most of the deliveries land on Jesionka airport in Rzeszów, next to the Ukrainian border in Poland. Also, there is coming law in European Union to limit purchases from European Union countries to those which are manufactured in European Union mostly. So as we see, the European Union tries to catch all of the money and to be invested in the continent, not to leave the Europe towards other industries, towards other businesses. Like now is Polish money for military are going mostly to United States and South Korea, because they can deliver such a number of tanks and fighter aircrafts very quickly. Nawrocki can threaten relations with USA, but example given by approving ambassadors friendly to USA or supporting Trump politics by going to USA cities where lives 10 million people with Polish origin. Second point, increasing spending on the Polish army and strengthening national security. There are many other projects ongoing in Poland now, and they all speed up. Poland produces ships to Navy combat, vehicles, artillery, weapons, rocket kits, self-propelled rocket, gun howitzer, and many others, but doesn't produce tanks and fighter aircrafts or artillery ammunition, and few other important things. So here are big problems which uses often a leader of Confederation mentioned in his criticizing, because he's underlying that in case of conflict, of course Russian aggression, Poland has artillery ammunition for around a week. And Poland still doesn't have factory of artillery ammunition, and it's 3 years of the war in Ukraine. Number 3, increasing the number of soldiers to at least 300,000. This plan is not new plan. Actually, it was stated by Law and Justice in 2022, and due to the rising threats from the east, and the plan is have to have 300,000 until 2023. Right now, Poland has around 206,000 soldiers, including 144,000 of professional soldiers and 40,000 of members of the territorial defense forces. So they are not actually real soldiers. Fourth point, continuing development investments which were at risk of suspension. CPK, Central Polish Airport, and Polish nuclear power. Expansion, of course, on Baltic Sea. So there are three things: central Polish airport, Polish nuclear power, and expansion of ports of the Baltic Sea. The important, widely and publicly discussed things, which is quite new in Polish debate, which is not really on high level, right now are the big public investments. So most important of this, except military expenses, are these three. And we're gonna speak a short about them because they are really huge projects and a lot of money goes there. CPK is investment in huge logistic hub and international airports, nationwide integrated transport network, railways and roads. The combined airport and railway station is planned to serve 40 million passengers per year. The cost of the air and rail elements of the plans are expected to be 131 billion Polish złoty, which is approximately 30 billion of dollars. Current Liberal coalition wanted to dismiss that project or slow it down, which was originally approved by their political enemies Law and Justice in November 2017. Mostly current coalition was criticizing the project due to big size and also that there is already airport in Berlin, so Poland don't have to build another big airport. This is important investment as the Polish Warsaw airports are blocked since a few years and they can't take more flights. So Poland is losing here the business value since some years. Discussion about a new airport date back to at least 1971. In 1978, first proposed his idea of it was first idea proposed by parliamentarians in a new central airport for Poland. So look, it's already 50 years talking about it and trying to make this project to go to reality. CPK should be built in 2032, and it was delayed by current coalition for 2 years from 2030. Polish nuclear power plants. This project is being neglected since many years by politicians. In September 2023, the process of determining the location for the first nuclear power plant in Poland, which had been ongoing since 2010, was completed by issuing an environmental decision and then a location decision. 30 years of choosing locations, spent over 100 million of Polish złotych, and half of it almost for salaries. 13 years to choose the location. There is a huge one more time, I cannot stand it, so I have to tell it. 13 years. I'm not telling to any of I'm here apolitical. I'm not telling to any putting guilty on one or second party. It's for all parties because for 13 years there were different parties, both of the duopoly parties, which were governing, and they couldn't choose location, and they spent 100 million Polish złotych. However, we go further. There is huge need and growing need of power in Poland, and that is known for decades in Poland. It is also hard to fulfill that need because European Union promote so-called green energy, excluding and closing down coal energy. But this Green Deal, green energy from European Union, do not include nuclear power, which is low emission energy. Due to mostly German opposition in this, so example given, France has a lot of power, the biggest number of power plants and the power percentage, and it's also France also wants to nuclear power plants to be included in green energy, so they get money from European Union for building it, as the green energy gets this money. So hydropower gets this money, solar power plants get this money, but not the nuclear power plants. The Polish government, will allocate over 4.7 billion of Polish złotych for this investment, and it's supposed to be built until 2036, and is being shifted by current coalition for a few years. So as you see, both of these projects are delayed. Again, it's not first time, of course. And third thing from this important investments is expansion of ports on the Baltic Sea. The Baltic Hub container terminal in Gdansk is undergoing a major expansion, including a new T3 terminal with a 770-meter deep water way and expanded storage yards. The T3 terminal will add 1.5 million TEUs to the terminal's handling capacity, according to Baltic Tube News. This is somehow connected to CPK, as Poland wants to become the main logistic hub for Eastern Europe, and it's actually slowly becoming. A lot of things and more and things are coming to Polish ports, and they are getting bigger. Fifth point: strengthening the Polish economy, reducing VAT from 23 to 22%, reducing energy bills by 1/3, veto to EU Green Deal, fiscal tax zero for families with 2 or more children, better access to public services and healthcare. The taxation postulate, it is a bit strange for public, as Polish president is not very advanced in economics, which he proved on few debates and interviews. And also, Polish president doesn't have power to reduce the energy bills or reduce the taxes. But he can politically push and strengthen coalition to neg that Green Deal, which caused a huge burden for all European Union economics. Of course, the target of Green Deal is to disqualify high coal emission energy. So to get clear environment and to be not dependent on coal. The average electricity taxation in Europe is around 20%, while in Poland it exceeded the barrier of 45%. Not only EU taxes caused by Green Deal, but also because Poland has high tax on electricity is very important postulate. Polish economy was based on coal and still is more than half of energy produced by coal. So the Green Deal shortly is very painful for raising cost of energy, both to companies and to private. Sixth point, maintaining the zloty as the national currency. Currently, the euro currency is official currency in 20 countries from 2018 European Union. They create so-called eurozone. Poland is not having euro as a national currency, and except the 8 countries which do not have euro, except Denmark, so actually 7 countries, are obliged to adopt euro as a national currency, but there is no stipulation in this obligation, formal obligation, when it will be going to the life. So actually, we have to take it, but we don't know when. The biggest reason why Poland do not want euro as a national currency is risk of price increase, as it happened in countries which adopted euro. Also, it is shown as a losing of control of their of Polish finance system. The second argument is rather from politics. The first is rather from people, right? That's the increases of prices. 7 point. Strong and determined defense of Polish borders against the flood of illegal immigrants. In Belarus, Lukashenko, dictator which rules Belarus since 3 decades, won frauded presidential elections in 2020 and suppressed the public protests after it. Poland was strongly supporting Belarusian opposition. Svetlana, for example, given Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya, Lukashenko took revenge on Poland because of that, by hybrid warfare, and began sponsoring an influx of migrants, mostly from the Middle East and North Africa. He transported them he organized transport of these illegal immigrants to the borders of Lithuania, Poland, and Latvia. These illegal immigrants mostly wanted to get through Poland to Germany. Example given caused huge crises, and countries affected built a wall and sent army to guard the borders, meaning these 3 countries. Despite a lot of effort, the illegal immigrants flew through the border, through the Polish border, Latvian and Latvia border, causing also crisis in Germany. And Germany has already big tension regarding failure of their immigrant policy. So it's important thing not only for Poland. 8 point. Protection of unborn children, opposition to abortion. Polish law abortion is one of the most restricted in Europe and is legal, and abortion is legal only in cases 1. When the woman's life or health is endangered by the continuation of pregnancy, and the second, when the pregnancy is a result of a criminal act. This is international case, as there are many organizations and big effort from the more liberal countries around the world to change the law in Poland. Uh, but most of the Polish people do not agree to liberate the abortion law, and here conservative candidate Nawrocki has a similar opinion. 9th, support for Polish agriculture and local development, also outside the largest cities, protection of Polish agriculture from imports from South Africa and Ukraine. European Union, by initiative of Ursula von der Leyen, push the Mercosur deal with South America, which, if it will be implemented, will cause higher import of cheaper agricultural goods, which are probably in many cases not obtaining high standards of food in European Union, which European Union is well known for its high standards on food. There are countries, including Poland, which has strong agriculture industry and their business is in danger of this deal. The same situation is with Ukraine. With Ukraine case, I mean, because Ukraine are not in European Union. Although here European Union countries agreed from almost the beginning of Russian aggression to open the market for Ukrainian agriculture, to open the European Union market. It caused the biggest farmer and logistic industry protests in Poland and other countries in European Union. Also, the Ukraine drivers has been allowed widely to EU market. So it's not only farmers, it's also drivers. So the agricultural goods and also the logistic, service. Now, after 3 years of this strategy, Poland is in coalition with a few other countries, wants to limit this open market and this open market for service and for goods also to Ukraine. 10 points. Obtaining consent from Ukraine for exhumations in Volhynia. This is regarding painful moments in Polish and Ukrainian relations, and the biggest problem actually in these relations. So it was massacre carried out of Poles on Poles in Volhynia and Eastern Galicia, eliminating around 100,000 people, mostly civilians, by UPA, Ukrainian Insurgent Army. This happened in 1942, so during the Second World War. And still Ukraine makes barriers for exhumations in their land. 11. Continuation of actions to obtain reparations from Germany. The Polish government request for reparations from Germany due to the destruction and suffering caused during the Second World War was sent to Germany on 1st of September 2022 on the 82nd anniversary of the German invasion of Poland. This claim includes reparation estimated on 6 trillion and 220 billion Polish Złoty, which is around $1.5 trillion, which is huge sum for Poland. Former Chancellor Olaf Scholz, former Chancellor of Germany Olaf Scholz, responded to Poland that the reparations are legally and formally done, but not morally done. Scholz refers to reparations for Soviet Union, meaning that they are done legally and formally. Scholz refers to reparations for Soviet Union on behalf of Poland, established among Germany and Soviet Union after Second World War. We have to mention that Poland at that time was under Soviet occupation, and Poland had totalitarian communism implemented by Soviets. So Poland was excluded from reparations by demand from the Soviet Union, so Germany will accept new border established after Second World War, where Poland, due to this deal of accepting borders, lost 20% of their land, and Germany lost part of its eastern land, which was included to Poland. Of course, Poland had nothing to say about all of these illegal steals, illegal from the point of Polish law. 12th point. No consent to destructive ideologies that demoralize children in school. This is about LGBT initiative, where these movements and liberal governments and organizations, including globalistic organizations, wants to implement in Poland laws and rights which are actually implemented in Western Europe, mostly. A very wide topic, but shortly speaking, conservative part says no to it, and again we have public topics which divides countries between conservative and liberal part, like it is with abortion topic or immigrants strategy in Poland. And the third and last point, restoring the memory of Polish national heroes, patriots program in school. This point actually is interesting point. Since Liberal coalition took power almost 2 years ago, aligning with almost all the European Union strategies, economical, society, educational strategy. I will give you example. The establishment started to remove Polish establishment started to remove heroes, which were clear picture representing Polish important figures and events, mostly patriotic ones. So they started to remove it from educational books or the general philosophy, let's say, historical path. These actions caused protests of patriotic environments and demand to restore deleted parts of education. This is connected with liberal changes trend in European education to put focus not on history or patriotism, therefore to have easier way to federalize European Union rather than to make it European Union of Nations, where in case of European Union of Nations, countries will keep sovereignty, more power to decide by themselves, and will not shift another competencies to European government, mostly which is governed mostly ruled but mostly by Germany and France. So there are two directions in European Union. One wants to federalize European Union with nations which have sovereignty, and second option is to create one big state, let's say European Union state, where nations will be not important, just one state. Summing up, under the cover of the argument of federalization, the strongest states in European Union will govern it even with greater power and efficiency than now, if the plan, of course, will succeed. As we don't know it, because right now there is this big trend which we talk about to that the right side is getting stronger and stronger. Thank you very much, guys, that you have been with me, and hope to see you once again.